Hello everyone, welcome to Raw vs. Wrestling for Monday Night Raw, June 6th for 2011. The show essentially started off with, which I would assume would be a transition from Tough Enough to Monday Night Raw, with the winner being announced at the beginning of Monday Night Raw. I didn't get to see Tough Enough this week, so that was because I was at work really late, so I didn't get to see how Tough Enough ended and if it just transitioned naturally into Raw, where they were at Raw initially at the end of Tough Enough and then going into Monday Night. But Andy ends out winning the Tough Enough competition and gets a stunner for his effort. Gets that entire aspect. You knew Austin was going to stun you knew Austin was going to give a stunner to the winner anyway, so they went off and did it. Vince McMahon was out there. You still had Austin and McMahon, after Andy left, were still in the ring. R-Truth came out, interrupted them. He came out in his little Confederacy uniform, which was kind of hilarious. It was kind of fitting, considering for a small history lesson, the aspect that Richmond, Virginia was the home of the Confederacy capital. So that was a bit hilarious. He apologized to the fans and then seceded from the WWE Universe. This means he's going to get his title match at the pay-per-view. That will be an interesting one. I've been liking the way R-Truth's been as a heel. He just seems to be completely out of his mind the entire time. But to go on, after R-Truth was done, Miz came out and interrupted him, doing his usual stick, doing everything he normally does. Eventually, this brought out Alex Riley. It didn't take too much time for Riley to come out there, essentially saying that the only thing Miz deserved, instead of another title shot, was a third straight week of beatdowns. This eventually just brought out John Cena, and he started doing his whole shtick. And honestly, he did it. I thought he did an extremely good job. I think he does a good job of telling or making jokes when it's just a PG environment. So that's just a personal opinion on that one. But he was doing his usual stick. The GM chimed in. It looked like Michael Cole was going to go ahead and read the email, until Vince told him, in typical Vince fashion, to shut up. And he just made the main event match, Alex Riley and John Cena versus The Miz and R-Truth. The promo itself was pretty well transitioned. I thought it was pretty well done, though it was long. In that sense, I think it was a good 20-25 minute segment. But they transitioned pretty well from the whole Tough Enough winner to everything they were doing to set up the main event for that night. So I thought it was a well done promo, though it was a bit long. Just quick notes on the few of the matches here. You had Santino and Michael McGillicuddy. They had a quick fun match. It was pretty good. It was a decent match. Santino won. It looks like they're setting up a tag team title match with him and Vladimir Kozlov versus the New Nexus, which is Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga in this case. So it looks like they'll have a tag title match. You had Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly going up against the Bella Twins. Another quick match here. With Beth Phoenix and Kelly winning the match. Honestly, I don't know where they're going with the Bellas on that one. Because they lost to Kelly last week with Kelly getting the pin, and then they lost this week with Beth getting the pin. So who knows who's actually getting the next title shot there, but we'll see where they go with that one. Next quick note was, and I don't mean it to be that it didn't mean anything, but you had Kofi Kingston and Zack Ryder. Kofi wins that match, which I thought was a really good match, even though for how short it was. But the main focus on this one is that they seem to be continuing the Kofi-Dolph Ziggler feud, which, like I said, we've seen this on SmackDown before. They do really good. They've had really good, entertaining matches in the ring, and it's been an entertaining feud in the past. I think it will be that again. So that's where it looks like they're going. They'll probably have a United States title match at the pay-per-view or a little bit later on. I don't know exactly when. You also had Alberto Del Rio coming out and making fun of the Big Show. Honestly, I guess this is the only way they've been attempting to use Alberto since he came over to Raw. That's kind of sad. I wish they would have him work his promos and then work matches, but that's how they're going with it. He's making fun of Big Show, who's out at the moment, so I expect Big Show to come in the next few weeks and eventually do something about Alberto. So who knows when it will actually happen, but that's the route it's going. I don't personally like it, but that's where they're going with it at the moment. And for people who are noticing that I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes just to make sure I'm getting everything I personally want. You had a backstage segment with Booker and Trish, and they were doing a little thing where he was trying to teach Trish to spin a Rooney. Jack Swagger comes in and challenges him to a match, which he accepts for later in the night. And that match was once again a bit slow, but a decent match. Not too bad. It wasn't done too badly. Booker T gets the win via countout, and eventually Swagger gets punked out again by Evan Bourne and gets forced into the ring. He gets the scissors kick and the shooting star press. I guess they're going to continue this whole Evan Bourne, Jack Swagger thing for a little while, or at least maybe till the end of the month. But I don't know if that's actually fully necessary or if they're going to actually make a pay-per-view match out of it, but that's where they're going with it at the moment for that. Another good match this week by CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. This match was a bit slower and it had a different result with Mysterio winning, but not just the aspect of Mysterio winning being different, but the entire match was different from the week before, which I always like to see out of back-to-back weeks, where if you can take the first match that you did and then do a completely different match the next week. That was extremely well done. It made it didn't feel like it was just doing the same old again. It was a bit slower of a match, but it was still a really good match, and I'm looking forward to them continuing their feud, which they had done in the past as well. This brought off to the main event, which was Cena and Alex Riley versus The Miz and R-Truth. Once again, another fun match. You had Austin as the guest referee. I thought the match was a lot of fun and set up for everything at the pay-per-view, with the fact that Cena's going up against R-Truth for the title, and then Miz is going up against Alex Riley. It furthers their storylines a little bit, and in the end, of course, they had Cena and Riley get the win via the help of Austin, and eventually the Raw GM chimes in, and this is where it gets a little weird. He reverses the decision like he did at WrestleMania when Austin got interacted, and then the aspect that made it weird was that for the next week he makes him the special guest GM for their 3-hour special. I don't get why he would do that, but they seem to go weird areas with the anonymous Raw general manager anyway, so he reverses the decision that Austin had done and then makes him GM for the next week. So it feels a bit weird that they would just go off and do it that way. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good show. It wasn't. There was nothing really great about it. It furthered a lot of the pay-per-view areas or potential making for pay-per-view matches for the next week. I thought Raw this week was a decent show, a pretty good show, but nothing spectacular, but nothing really that bad either. So this was Raw vs. Wrestling for June 6, 2011, and thank you guys for watching.